Hello and welcome to the Be the Best Talk. Today I'm going to speak about two high-performing esports teams and highlighting the ingredients to success. Additionally, I'll be comparing these two teams and looking at three key points of their specific practices. Their S practices, skills, techniques, and tactics, specific team practices, and how the team is managed. The two teams I will be looking at is Fnatic and NRG. One thing that is clear is that both esports teams value their players' psychological well-being, which can be seen by acts they have taken to keep their players healthy. For example, in 2020, after closing a $10 million funding from investors in November, Fnatic hired their very fast sports scientist to try and boost their game players' performance. This sports scientist was placed in a new high-performance unit to study and observe how their players was sleeping and how their stress levels impacted their performance. They put this in place for all 60 games that they had on their team at the time, which included their Apex Legends players, Dota 2 players, League of Legends players, and Counter-Strike player. And alternatively, NRG has taken steps like hire a network of nutritionists and freelance fitness coaches that encourage players to go to the gym to keep that general health to a healthy standard. In addition, NRG continues to develop themselves and support their players with noticeable change. They've made is by hiring a former 100 Teeth's esports physical therapist. Edward Cleland planned to help them further their player support and keep that players healthy and active. Although these esports teams are doing a lot to help their team players, I think it would be beneficial for them to make a lot more of their treatments public, especially to their fans that could take on some of the physical care routine. Another thing both of these teams take serious is the image and how they see themselves as role models to the wider community and their fans. For example, Fnatic wants to empower young streamers and the next generation of content creators. They've shown this by launching their new initiative aimed to help upcoming streamers and to the content creators of what Forbes magazine called the next generation. They did this with the knowledge that some of these people might not join their team down the line and focused on giving them aid with increasing their viewership and member engagement, but also business tasks like partnerships, sponsorships, and the business side of streaming and content creation. In addition, another way that Fnatic encourages and supports new content creators and streamers is by team appearances, which would be at game events that they would be competing, or that interviews that they have give advice and document their journey through their career. Similarly, NRG uses that range of social media, which spans from Twitter and Instagram to TikTok and Twitch, Discord, and YouTube, to not only give constant updates on how their players are doing and their development as a team, but also to give encouragement and valuable knowledge to the fans and aspiring artists. You have improved the production community of esports. I like that Fnatic had a direct approach of putting initiative in place. I thought that NRG could have done this as well and showed more support to aspiring content creators and streamers that watch and follow them. Skills, techniques, and tactics, e.g. solo team play, formation. One of the key points of being a public figure is your public image. Fnatic is seen to have a positive public image, which is reflected from the fan base. They are well respected in the esports industry, and any public content that they put out is well regulated. Astronauts show any bad imagery of them. Can be similar to NRG, who want to be seen as a supporting esports figure that is both professional and high. Additionally, both these teams, they have a lot love, help, and plans in the background for each player to ensure that their public image and any statements that they put to the public are both assessed to make sure it enough in their viewers and also to protect their company as well. Fascinating, I wasn't surprised how both of these esports teams controlled and projected a positive public image, as it's important for them as fans. I wanted the main parts of their brand. With the strive to be the best teams like Fnatic and NRG can't see, look for new talent that will help them also the team and compete, call that #1 title in their leagues. Both Fnatic and NRG seasonally change out some of their players depending on their performance, and when their contracts run out. They also add in new players and announce new rosters and teams through the announcements on Twitter and for you. In addition, teams like Fnatic take part in different games and different tournaments. For example, League of Legends, where they take part in the mid-season invitationals, and they take part in the World Championship. Apart from that, Fnatic also takes part in competition events in Overwatch and Counter-Strike and other games. Alternatively, NRG takes part in games like Rocket League. Both Fnatic and NRG compete in that tournament for prize pools like Overwatch that up to 5.6 million to Rocket League. that has their series championship at 6 million constantly competing in these large tournaments and having viewers from all around the world, ranging from the usage. Australia and the UK with the age range going from 16 years old all the way up to 35-year-olds, these fans. 10. Do you have different characteristics, some being more hyperactive and more supportive of the team, and some being a passive viewer just viewing for the content and the enjoyability of the content and the enjoyability of the games? They're also common for high-performing teams to finally more experienced players by having academy or sub-teams. For example, Fnatic has the academy team called Fnatic Rising, which has upcoming pro players like Wolf, Adams, Maze, Banjo. However, teams like NRG to Record don't have any sub or academy teams. Personally, I think this is not a smart choice for these high-performing teams to have. And I think she should take inspiration from Fnatic by having the sub-teams to not only help to improve these players' skills, but also in a backup in case any of their main players fall out or leave mid-season. Another thing is that esports teams take seriously is their coaching and mentoring, for example. Both esports teams value a good work-life balance like Fnatic, who promote for a good work-life balance by habit. By allowing their players have a flexible schedule, players are also allowed to work remotely. To promote balance with their training and playing competitive schedule and to not a blip with their personal life, the teams also encourage their players to take regular breaks and prioritize their self-care, which also reduces burnout and helps encourage overall well-being. In conclusion, and now take fully grasp the importance of overall while being at self-care and creates this environment that is good for personal and professional grace. In addition, NRG promotes a positive work-life balance, like Fnatic with their flexible work schedule on their balance training and competitive schedule with their personal life. NRG also encourages and prioritizes communication with teammates and players, and also their monitoring staff as well. This helps reduce stress and uneasy what's happening in the company and keeps the trust between management and the players. Another thing that both NRG and Fnatic do is to keep their public image good is by communicating with fans in a positive and warm sense and attempting to create this strong community. In addition, NRG has a strong and engaging social media platform with them, spending over Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube with their constant updates and notices which creates this stronger connection. With that fevers, they also unknown to respond to their comments and opinions and to want to learn more about what their community is thinking and needs. Bypassing my mist interesting, as I know that large corporations find it hard to connect with their audience at person level, and I admire how these esports groups like Fnatic and NRG keep a close connection with their fans. Due to the nature and competitive culture of esports, these high-performing teams constantly look for new and upcoming talent for them to recruit and bring onto their team. For example, Fnatic's scouting team is always searching for up and coming players who show great talent and abilities at the respective games. The Fnatic scouting team also commonly attend different tournaments and assess how different players do within the rankings and how they react around the community at these events. In addition, another thing that Fnatic does is look at player statistics in recent games to see if they have the necessary skills or adequate experience. During this time, Fnatic could also interview other players where they would assess the player's personality and communication skills and determine whether they are a good fit for the team. Moreover, Fnatic might invite players to a tryout to see how they compete against other professional gamers and to also offer them a trial to see directly how they would fit in with the team. After all these different tests on these new players, Fnatic would decide whether they would be a good fit the team or not. Overall, Fnatic carefully evaluates the players and takes a wider view approach on their different skills and combine their experience and their personality and how their personality dynamic would affect the rest of the team. Similarly to Fnatic and NRG are also scouts their players through tournaments. But unlike Fnatic, they also look on online tournaments and on personal streams. NRG also looks at content that players may have created and assess their skills on well-known platforms like YouTube and Twitch. NRG also looks at these potential applicants on social media to assess their communication skills with the wider community. Moreover, like Fnatic, they also would do interviews and in-person assessment events to see the player's personality and how they play the game in person. Both Fnatic and NRG have an in-depth and thorough process to find new applicants and I like how they give ample opportunity and look for a wide and different range of skills, instead of only looking at only the player's ability in the game. I particularly like that NRG looks at content creators as well to implement into their teams, and I believe that Fnatic could also do this to help grow their brand to more than a competitive team. It is no surprise that Fnatic has a strong foundation and business culture that has evolved during their 19-year run. Fnatic have successfully created and evolved their management structure across the variety of the games. For example, the team vision, which is centered around being the best esport organization in the world. This is also reflected by their ethos, where they value passion, teamwork, adaptability, and respect. They also value innovation, which they have constantly shown by breaking boundaries and winning titles year after year. Fnatic has also taken a strong stance on how they recruit their new players, talent, and as a business has taken on their administrative and financial responsibilities with their dedicated management team, who is responsible for organizing the funds and managing the support staff, and also ensuring the best possible comfort for the esports players. The management team also controls salaries and sponsorships and holds a lot of financial responsibility to keep the Fnatic organization in a healthy balance. Similarly, NRG has the vision set on creating a memorable experience for fans and players, and their aims is to win in seasonal and long-time matches. Mostly with their coaches and their esports teams, NRG has a strong ethos of respect and community, and they value a strong relationship with their fans and their partners. And like Fnatic, NRG has a dedicated management team that manage their funds and salaries and sponsorships of the team. Ultimately, I like the way that these two teams have a strong mindset of winning, but also being respectful and engaging their communities, and in the future want to look into more about the team's administrative and financial responsibilities and see how they run the company behind the public image of it, the esports groups, and then winning the titles. Within the company of the Fnatic's team, there are a large amount of team roles, which include the player who are the core member of the Fnatic team, and the main responsibility of the company, where their performance directly impacts the popularity and the income of the company. And that is why Fnatic takes a lot of care and time picking their teams, but also puts a lot of time into looking after and honing the skills of their players. In addition, Fnatic has some substitutes who are backups for the main team. This is used as a contingency for a number of outcomes that could happen. This is mainly to protect Fnatic as a company and to ensure that Fnatic is operating at a high level throughout every season in their games, like NRG. Fnatic also has a dedicated analyst team who are responsible for analyzing the pro players' gameplay footage and seeing what kind of mistakes and how to improve the players could do whilst gaming. They also identify the player's strengths or weaknesses and plans with the help of the manager and the coach to develop these skills further. Moreover, Fnatic manager is mainly behind the scenes handling the administrative and generic aspects of the team. This may include the scheduling and arrangements of travel. This also includes contract signing with new players or substitute players as well. This setup is not too dissimilar to NRG, which has the core staples of their team members being the manager, analyst, and coach. NRG also has their pro players and takes care of their substitute players as well. Overall, both NRG and the Fnatic has similar team roles, but the specific responsibilities vary depending on the team underneath and the specific problems they're facing at that time. In conclusion, both Fnatic and NRG have a dynamic and unique style of managing and playing their games, with the overall skill of the team and factors like their coaching, management, and their player skills to consider. But also there is social management skills, where how they interact with it, fans, and their presence on different social media platforms. Both teams are exceptional at communicating with their fans and have created a strong basis for their team. Although NRG focuses more on their fans and the community, Fnatic also taking into consideration their fans through their various posts and updates with their roster changes. I like how both of these esports teams focus on their fans and what made them into a profitable and high-performing team. But I also understand how both these teams have a strong management basis and put a lot of work into their foundation and making money to pay their players as well. If there was one thing I would look into more, would be their financial and management structures and earning, and as a team, how they use the earnings from their winnings in competitive matches, but also what other streams or profit they make. For example, their social media profits as well.